The examination hall of the Galactic Military Academy hummed with nervous energy as 200 cadets from across 17 species hunched over their datapads. Margot glanced around the sterile white room, her brown eyes taking in the rainbow of alien physiology surrounding her. She was one of only 2 humans in the entire academy, a fact that had made the past 6 months simultaneously fascinating and isolating. Instructor Vexthor, a towering Krillian with scales that shimmered like oil on water, paced between the rows. His 4 eyes swept across the cadets with predatory focus. "You have 1 standard hour." His voice reverberated through the translation implants. "The tactical creativity assessment is a cornerstone of command qualification. 3 solutions. No more, no less." Margot tapped her datapad to life. The scenario materialized before her. A hostile enemy combatant, species unknown, approximately humanoid, fortified position, limited resources available. List 3 methods to neutralize the threat. She bit her lip, thinking. 3 seemed limiting. Across the room, Joshua, the only other human cadet, was already writing furiously, his fingers dancing across his datapad with the kind of manic energy Margot had come to recognize. He had that look in his eyes, the one that usually preceded something either brilliant or absolutely terrifying, sometimes both. Margot started with the conventional approaches. Method 1. Exploit structural weaknesses in the fortification using available explosives. Method 2. Psychological warfare through sensory deprivation. Method 3. Flanking maneuver utilizing terrain advantages. She paused, staring at her screen. That felt incomplete somehow, wasteful even. Humans had survived on Earth, a death world by galactic standards, by being creative problem solvers. Surely that creativity should extend to tactical scenarios. Her fingers began moving again, almost of their own accord. Method 4. Utilize atmospheric pressure differential by breaching fortification at multiple points simultaneously, creating a vacuum effect that would. Method 5. If aquatic environment, introduce electrolysis through available power sources to create combustible hydrogen-oxygen mixture. Method 6. Biological warfare through controlled contamination of water supply with. The list grew. Margot found herself falling into a strange sort of flow state, each method building on the last, her earth-honed survival instincts translating into increasingly creative solutions. She barely noticed when the first hour passed, or when Instructor Vexthor called for datapads to be submitted. 20 minutes later, the instructor stood at his podium reviewing submissions on his holographic display. His scales had taken on a pleased greenish hue. "Adequate responses across the board," he announced. Cadet Zixanora demonstrated excellent understanding of plasma dynamics. Cadet Throm showed commendable knowledge of structural engineering principles. He swiped to the next submission, and his scales flickered to an uncertain yellow. Cadet Joshua's response is comprehensive. Margot leaned forward. She knew that tone. Vexthor's eyes widened as he scrolled, and continued scrolling. "This human has submitted 30 distinct methods." His voice had taken on a strained quality. "The test required 3. A murmur rippled through the chamber. 30? Even Margot was impressed and slightly concerned. She'd stopped at 22. "Let us examine these responses," Vexthor continued, his professional composure reasserting itself. Method 1. Conventional explosive deployment, standard. Method 2. Electromagnetic pulse disruption, textbook. Method 3. Kinetic penetrator using railgun principles. Acceptable if aggressive. He paused at Method 4, his scales suddenly draining to a sickly white. Method 4. His voice had gone very quiet. Method 4 involves weaponizing the target's own respiratory system by introducing a catalytic agent that would cause their lungs to. "I cannot. This is." Instructor Vexthor swayed on his feet. His datapad clattered to the floor. A medical technician rushed forward as the massive Krillian collapsed in a heap of unconscious alien instructor. The examination hall erupted into chaos. 2 hours later, Margot and Joshua sat outside the Academy Commandant's office waiting to be called in. Joshua looked remarkably unbothered for someone who had just caused an instructor to faint. 22, he said without preamble. Margot blinked. "What? You wrote 22 methods. I saw your datapad before we submitted. 22 creative ways to complete the objective." He grinned, that infuriating, brilliant grin. "I thought I was being thorough at 30. They asked for 3, Joshua. They asked for a minimum viable response. I gave them a comprehensive tactical database. He leaned back in his chair, hands behind his head. Besides, every single method was valid. I checked the physics, the chemistry, the biological parameters. All viable. You made Vex-Thor faint. He fainted at number 4. That was barely the creative stuff. Wait until they get to number 17. That one involves using the target's own electromagnetic field to induce cardiac arrhythmia through resonant frequency manipulation. Margot put her head in her hands. We're going to get expelled, or promoted. Joshua's voice carried that dangerous optimism that had gotten them into situations before. Think about it, Margot. Every other species in that academy is taught to think within rigid tactical frameworks. They have their 3 standard approaches, their by-the-book solutions. But humans? We spent 10,000 years finding creative ways to kill things that wanted to kill us first. Earth made us into problem-solving killing machines wrapped in friendly skin. The office door opened. Commandant Drexnar, a dignified Eldari with luminescent markings across her cranial ridges, gestured them inside. Her expression was unreadable. Cadets Margot and Joshua, she began, settling behind her desk. You have caused quite the disruption today. Commandant, I can explain. Margot started. Drexnar raised a hand. Instructor Vex-Thor has recovered. He is currently undergoing psychological counseling after reading all 67 combined methods you 2 humans submitted. 67 ways to neutralize a target. The test asked for 3. Silence hung heavy in the office. Then the Commandant smiled, a gesture she had learned from observing humans. You're both being transferred to the Advanced Tactical Innovation Department, effective immediately. It seems we've been teaching warfare to the galaxy, while overlooking the species that turned survival into an art form. She pulled up their submissions on her display, her luminescent markings pulsing with what might have been amusement, though next time perhaps warn us before you demonstrate exactly why humans earned the designation Persistence Predator. We'll need to increase Vex-Thor's hazard pay. As they left the office, Joshua turned to Margot with a triumphant expression. Told you, promoted. Margot shook her head, but she was smiling. Humanity had passed another test, though not in the way the galaxy expected. They never did. Behind them, in the Commandant's office, Drexnar scrolled through method number 4 one more time, her markings flickering with a mixture of horror and profound respect. The galaxy was learning. Never ask a human for 3 solutions when their entire evolutionary history had taught them to find 30. The end.